ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगल्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। So we will be discussing chapter 3 of Canto 1. However, we have to finish chapter 2. Towards the end, we had to stop last time. In one sense, it was good, Krishna's arrangement, because the last section of chapter 2 is somewhat extending to chapter 3. And we will see why is that. So let me share the screen. Okay, I hope you can see my screen, right? Can you see my screen? Okay, so so today is the auspicious month of Kartik, starting. And Hare Krishna. Yeah. So we are discussing. Yes, Damodar month. Correct, Mataji. So as described here, as God is all light, all bliss and all perfection, so also is Srimad Bhagavatam. And this is right from chapter 3 only. But I keep as the front page. And which is true. Krishna is all light. And then especially in this month of Kartik, we are all recommended to offer ghee lamp. I mean, every day it is good to offer ghee lamp to Krishna, but especially in the month of Kartik, the benefit is 1,000 times or more to Lord Sri Damodar. So I hope you all will be doing this either at home or in the temple or both whenever possible. So our discussions from chapter 1 and then chapter 2 were surrounded on these 6 questions asked by the sages in Naimisharanya to Suta Goswami. So in chapter 2, now these are the questions. The first question was answered in chapter 2. The second was also answered. The ultimate good for the people, we know it is devotional service to Lord Krishna, which is unmotivated and uninterrupted. There is no conditions for my bhakti. And the essence of Vedic literature is also somewhat in connection to that. We will attain detachment from this material world, and we will attain the knowledge of the Supreme, etc. And question 3 is also answered in chapter 2, which we will see today. And then there are 3 more questions which will be answered in chapter 3, and later also the descriptions are there for these things. But we will come back to that. Before that, let's see what is answer to question 3, which is from chapter 2. So I'll bring in the slide. So this is chapter 2. Of course, this was question 1 and 2. We discussed. This is 2. And then we went through all these things. Since it was 2-3 weeks before, we can quickly see what all things we went through, or Bhagavatam taught us. So this is the supreme service to the Lord Sri Krishna. And then we see the sequence of progression wherein it describes about the characteristics of devotional service and what is proper service and what is not so proper. So we shouldn't do devotional service to attain some material benefits or sense gratification. Instead, it is only to achieve self-realization, to know who we are, who is the Supreme Lord, what is our relationships, etc. And then it goes and we get the realization of 3 aspects of the same Supreme Lord, Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan, and then how to realize the absolute truth by rendering service, devotional service, and hearing from the Shruti through the spiritual master or the acharyas who are bona fide, authorized. And the goal also we discussed, a goal of realizing the absolute truth. Why are we making efforts to achieve the realizing the absolute truth? The whole purpose is to please Lord Hari, samsiddhir haritoshanam. Anything we do, even if it is within the Varnashrama system, you are a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya or Shudra, regardless of that, all the activities are supposed to please the Lord. That is the ultimate goal. And then how do we act to attain that perfection? Now that we know the goal, how do we act? So it is given that we have to constantly hear, mainly hearing about Krishna, then glorify, remember, worship, etc. We have several reference from Bhagavad Gita and other scriptures also in this regard. Hearing, Shravanam Kirtanam, that's how we start our bhakti process. And Srila Prabhupada started ISKCON movement. Also, he was chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And simply by hearing that Hare Krishna Mahamantra, several conditioned souls got attracted. So that was his start. And then how to remove karmic reactions, of course, by remembering the personality of Godhead. And what happens after that? And we have seen all these nice effects of executing devotional service, and ultimately how to get taste so that we can continuously hear Krishna Katha. So that is by rendering service to the pure devotee, elevated souls. And of course, Radharani is the topmost devotee of Krishna. And effect of hearing Krishna Katha is nicely described in chapter 2. All the contaminations in our hearts will be destroyed if we hear properly and chant properly, and we achieve the Nishtha stage of bhakti, wherein we will be always enthusiastic to execute devotional service. And Radharani is the best example of Mahabhagavata, and we have to serve both person Bhagavata and the book Bhagavata. So we hear Srimad Bhagavatam from the heart of a pure devotee, such as Srila Prabhupada. That is where we can achieve perfection. And then once we do that, we will be transcending the modes of material nature, and then we will attain pure goodness, and then thus we will come out of the cycle of birth and death and achieve the Krishna prema. Our heart, we will be able to receive properly Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna. So that is where we stopped. And in chapter 2, towards the end of the chapter 2, it is described about these three three personalities who are in charge of creation, maintenance, and destruction. Of course, this is Supreme Personality of Godhead. Under his instruction only, all these activities are being performed. But Vishnu takes care of the maintenance, because that is the most difficult thing. To create something is not so easy. Of course, Lord Brahma was empowered by Krishna, and he was able to create. And to destruct something is also not so easy. Destruction of the whole material creation, it's not so easy. Lord Shiva is doing that under the instruction of Krishna. But to maintain is the most difficult activity, right? Sometimes it's easy to create something, and destroy is also very easy. But to maintain that on a long term is very difficult. So Lord Vishnu himself took care of that. So all human beings can derive ultimate benefit from Vishnu, the form of the quality of goodness. And then some examples are given here: Sattva, Rajas, Tama, and characteristics, etc. We can derive the benefits of superior knowledge, such as fire, and then smoke, and all different analogies given here. Smoke is better than the raw wood, but better than smoke is fire. So fire is equivalent to goodness, smoke is passion, and wood is like dull, is ignorance. Now there is a very amazing verse given in chapter 2. Vasudeve paraveda, Vasudeva paramakha, Vasudeva parayoga, Vasudeva parakriya, Vasudeva param jnanam, Vasudeva param tapah, Vasudeva paro dharmo, Vasudeva paragatihi. Everything is Vasudeva. In the revealed scriptures, the ultimate object of knowledge is Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. The purpose of performing sacrifice is to please him. Yoga is for realizing him. All fruitive activities are ultimately rewarded by him only. He is supreme knowledge, and all severe austerities are performed to know him. Religion is rendering loving service unto him. He is the supreme goal of life. In essence, everything is Lord Krishna only. The knowledge comes from him. Purpose is to please him. Yoga is for realizing him only, not for some physical exercise, but to realize Krishna. And all fruitive activities, even if it is fruitive, that is awarded by him, sometimes not directly, indirectly, because people go to demigods to get some fruitive results, but Krishna only empowering demigods to provide those results. So those in the mode of goodness worship Supreme Lord Krishna only because of this reason. And then towards the end of the chapter 2, the material creation is described. And if we remember the question 4, it was in connection to material creation. What is the role of Lord, Supreme Lord, in the material creation? So there is a glimpse of that in chapter 2, and chapter 3 details a little bit more. And then in Srimad Bhagavatam later, cantos, elaborately this material creation is described very elaborately. So as we can see from the picture here, now Lord Krishna is nowhere in this picture, but we can see Lord Vishnu, and we will see in the next slide what is the connection between Lord Krishna and Lord Vishnu. They are both same, Supreme Lord, but it's a different manifestation. How Krishna manifests into Mahavishnu, that sequence is given in the next picture. But if we start from Mahavishnu, he is lying in the Karana ocean, and then from his body, unlimited material universes will come out. And this Mahavishnu is also called Karanodakashayi Vishnu, who is lying in the ocean of Karna, causal ocean. So after creating all these universes, he himself will expand into several another form of Vishnu called Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. And each of these Garbhodakashayi Vishnu will settle down inside each of these universe. So this is one universe and another one, unlimited. So same Mahavishnu will expand into unlimited Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. And then this universe will be filled, half filled with water, and he will lie down there. And then Lord Brahma will come out of him. We'll see that a little later. But once he uh, comes into this individual universe, and he will empower Lord Brahma to create living entities and all those things. And this same Garbhodakashayi Vishnu will expand himself into Kshirodakashayi Vishnu. And then he will locate within the hearts of each and every living entity and each and every atom. So you can see here this Kshirodakashayi Vishnu is sitting in the hearts of a tiger, a man, woman, and insect and whatnot. And this manifestation is also called super soul, Paramatma. And we will discuss this a little detail later today. And then we can see here how Sri Krishna expands into these Vishnu forms. It is not direct. First, Sri Krishna will expand into Baladev or Balaram. That is the first manifestation. And then Baladev will expand into first Chaturvyuha. Chatur means four. So Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. And then this Sankarshana is a form of Baladev, direct expansion. And from Sankarshana, Narayan expansion comes. And from this Narayan, another Chaturvyuha, second Chaturvyuha will come. And then this second Sankarshana will expand into Mahavishnu, who is Karanodakashayi Vishnu. From his pores, his body, all the unlimited universes will manifest. And then Mahavishnu, another manifestation is Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. He is within each and every universe. And then from Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, Kshirodakashayi Vishnu is Paramatma. He will be sitting in the hearts of every living entity and every atom. So that's how the manifestation goes. So we can see, Krishna is here. He's playing his flute and enjoying with Vrajavasis. And all the material creation and all other activities are being done under the supervision of Baladev. And then again, Baladev doesn't do directly, but Balaram takes care of all those service, leaving Krishna to enjoy his own pastimes. And then, different manifestations will do different activities. And majorly the material creation is headed by Mahavishnu, Kshirodakashayi Vishnu, Karanodakashayi Vishnu. And we will see that in chapter 3. So the end of chapter 2 gives the answer for question 3. Why are the incarnations coming into this material world? So the answer is he performs pastimes to reclaim those, that means all of us conditioned souls, in the to help us, save us, to bring us to pure mode of goodness and then take us back to Godhead. So that is the purpose of his incarnation. Sometimes he incarnates himself, or sometimes he empowers a suitable living entity to act on behalf of him. But the purpose is he wants the suffering living beings such as all of us, probably at least myself, to help us going back to spiritual world. And he benefits not only humans, but all living entities, because ultimately all the living entities are his parts and parcels. So having said that, we can move to chapter 3, which is full of nectar. So here is Srimati Radharani. We need her blessings to approach Krishna, of course. And then this was Bhadra we discussed before. So let's go to chapter 3. Oops. Yes. Okay. Chapter 3 is here. All right. So we are back to chapter 3. Share this chapter 3. Okay, so I hope you can see the screen, right? 6 questions.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, good. So we have seen the response to question 3 to reclaim and to help us going back to Godhead. Now, question 4 is, what are the acts of Lord in relation to creation of this material world? It's a very valid question. Lord is all spiritual Sachidananda Vigraha. So what are his actions in connection to this material world, right? How does this got created? And then we have the question, activities of incarnations of Lord. So we will see several incarnations today. And then finally, where have the religious principles gone after Krishna's disappearance from this planet? Very wonderful question. We'll see that. Now, the question 4 about creation. So this slide shows the overall creation or overall existence, I would say. Spiritual world is not created in some sense. It exists eternally. But material world will come and go. So it needs to be created and then it'll stay for some time. It will be destroyed. Again, it needs to be created. So we can see the spiritual world here. Topmost is Goloka Vrindavan, where Radha Krishna resides and all the associates. And then there are several other Vaikuntha planets are there. There are quadruple, there's 4 expansions, Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, Niruddha. And then we can also see here, interestingly, Lord Shiva, his name is Sadashiva's abode. He's not, his main abode is not in the material world. His abode is right below the Vaikuntha planets. And then there is Brahma Jyoti here, which is the effulgence of the form of Lord. And then Viraja river, which separates the material world to spiritual world. So the suffering starts from here down. But of course, Lord exists within the material world also. And as we discussed, Karanodakashayi Vishnu is here, and this is one universe. Now, this is not up to scale. It is not that half the portion is spiritual world and exactly same size is material world. That's not true. We cannot use our material dimensions, but still it is described that 3/4 is spiritual world and 1/4 is material world, something like that. But again, it's not that big compared to spiritual eternal existence. And this is one universe is zoomed, and there are 14 planets within this universe where we are residing. And Brahma Jyoti comes from Krishna's effulgence. Sun reflects the Brahma Jyoti. Sun reflects this Brahma Jyoti in the material universe. Without that, the material universe is complete darkness. Spiritual world is always with light. Brahma Jyoti, Krishna's body provides effulgence. No need of sun or moon, etc. But here we need something like that, some mechanism. All right. Now let's go a little in depth. This is a little technical, how the material world is created. As we can see here, this is the existence, and there are unlimited number of Vaikuntha planets, and topmost is Goloka Vrindavan, and there is effulgence all over the place, Brahma Jyoti. But that effulgence doesn't enter directly into this material world, which is in one corner. So you can see originally a cloud-like darkness in one corner of the spiritual sky in Vaikuntha. So that is the causal ocean from which the material world is created. So material world is in a sleeping state, and it has to be created by, energized by Lord. And then different personalities will take in charge for the creation and maintenance and destruction as such. But this is in a corner of the spiritual existence, and it is dark. And it exists eternally, but sometimes manifested, sometimes not, the material world. So as you can see here, Mahavishnu lying in the Karana ocean, somewhere here, he will glance at the material nature. Now, this is Durga. So he will glance at the material. So she's in charge of material energy, right? So Mahavishnu just glance, that's it. And that way he will agitate the material energy or material elements. That's how the whole creation starts. And that time element is added to it, etc. There are details coming up in later parts of Bhagavatams. I will not go into very detail, but just an essence. It'll start with Mahavishnu glancing the material nature. And then all these material elements which are in a sleepy state, we also call that as Mahatattva. It contains all the ingredients of the material manifestations. Everything required for the material world to run is available within this Mahatattva. And the Mahatattva is divided into 16 parts. Sometimes it's described as 24 elements also, but these are discarded in some explanations. That's all. So that's why I chose this figure. But these 16 elements or 16 parts are here. There is a mind. There are sense organs, 5 of them. Gyanendriyas. We know eyes, ears, nose, skin, tongue, which is very famous. We are all living with this, using this. And then there are 5 organs of action, karmendriyas, the hands, feet, speech, elimination or vayu and procreation. And we have these 5 mahabhutas, all the elements or everything is made up of these 5 elements. Ether, or we can start from here, earth, water, fire, air, ether. Earth we know, water we know, fire, air, ether is space. So, and then we have these tanmatras or subtle sense perceptions. We are familiar, sound, touch, form, taste, smell, and we have these organs to experience these. So sometimes this is also included, sometimes not. And we have this false ego, ahankara, and intelligence, and then this unmanifested prakriti, and this is a purusha, supreme purusha. So we have these sattva, rajas, tamas divisions also. I'm not going into the details of those, but essentially these 16 material elements. So this will be agitated by Lord Vishnu by his glance. Again, another wonderful representation. Vishnu is lying in the causal ocean. He will glance at the material energy. Of course, you can see Radha Krishna here. So this must be the Goloka Vrindavan. But this is one material universe. And then from the navel of Mahavishnu, this is Garbhota Kashaya Vishnu, expansion of Karanoda Kashaya Vishnu. He's lying within this universe. Half of the universe is filled with water. So the lotus will come and Brahma will be born out of that. So another one. So that is the glimpse of how the material creation. Now there are so much into it. Material creation. Lord Brahma had to undergo meditation for several years, and Krishna will give the knowledge to him and things like that. So those aspects will come later, not in today's session. Now this Kshirodakashaya Vishnu, who is sitting in the hearts of all the living beings, he is the collective Paramatma. I mean, because he expands into unlimited numbers and sits in in the hearts of different living entities. And he is also called Hari. And from him, all the incarnations within the universe are expanded. So he can be considered as a doorway through which all these incarnations are descending to this material world. Now you can see several incarnations are shown here, but we will go through majority of these as given in this chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. Now before that, we can see this. I know this is so small to read, but I can explain. This is Swayam Bhagavan, Swayam Rupa Shri Krishna. He is the original form and everything comes from him. We will see a verse from Brahma Samhita also describing that. Ishwarah Paramah Krishna. And then he has Balaram, called Vaibhava Prakash, expansion of Balaram. And then he has a Prabhava Prakash. These are details. Prabhava Prakash is example is in Rasalila, Krishna, the same Krishna will expand into multiple Krishnas, not Balaram or some other form. That is Prabhava. Vaibhava is not the same form, little different form as Balaram. The complexion is white, but he's exactly same Krishna only in that sense. And then there are Tadeka Atmarupas within that different, uh, you know, categories. What we discuss is something called Swamsha or partial manifestations of the Lord. Within that, there are different varieties. There are Leela avatars, which are very famous. Malsya Kurma, Varahas, Sri Rama, etc. There are Purusha avatars, which are actually the same three. Karanadokashaya Vishnu, Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, and Kshirodakashaya Vishnu, which we have described already. There are Gunavataras, mode of goodness, passion, ignorance, that is Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, or goodness is Vishnu, passion, Brahma, and ignorance is Shiva. Shiva is not in ignorance, but he takes that service. He is the topmost Vaishnava. And there are Shakti Avesh avatars, some living entities who are very highly qualified. They will be empowered sometimes. They will be empowered by Lord Krishna to act for some purpose. So that is Shakti Avesh avatars. And there are Vibhuti section also, little different. And then there are Manvantar avatars, several different Manus. They have some service also. And then Yuga avatars, another category. So again, these things are detailed in the scriptures, but we will just touch upon that only. So here in this chapter 3, the following incarnations are just mentioned without giving much details, but it's mentioned. So we will touch up. The first incarnation is 4 Kumaras. They are empowered incarnations. They are not Vishnu Tattva, but they are empowered, living entities empowered by Krishna. And these 4 Kumaras, they underwent severe type of austerities, and then they lived as bachelors, followed celibacy, etc. Very, very highly elevated. And they are teaching us the process of Brahman realizations. First aspect of the 3, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. But later, we know that they will visit Vaikuntha Loka, and just by smelling the tulasi from the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu, they will be attracted to pure devotional service also. So that is 4 Kumaras. Then Varaha incarnation, we are all familiar. The boar incarnation. This incarnation appeared to take the earth out of filthy matter. So Hiranyaksha, he was very greedy, and he will dig the earth for getting so much gold, and then earth will be losing its balance, and earth will fall down to way down in the Garbhodaka ocean. So Lord Varaha will appear and save the Mother Earth. And third incarnation is Narada Muni. Narada Muni is an empowered incarnation. He's not a Vishnu Tattva, he is empowered incarnation. He teaches or informs the foolish entities, human beings who are behind fruitive actions, how to realize the reality of happiness by executing devotional service. So he's giving directions. He will meet different living entities. We have several examples in Bhagavat itself. He is a spiritual master of Dhruva Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, and so many other personalities. So he's traveling throughout the universe and spreading Krishna conscious messages. That is his service. And fourth incarnation is Nara and Narayana. They are twin sons of the wife of King Dharma. They also undertook severe penances to control the senses. And the incarnation of Narayan is still worshipped at Badri Narayan on the range of the Himalayas. Okay. And Lord Kapila Dev. Now, Lord Kapila Dev is very famous. He taught us the Sankhya philosophy. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, detailed several chapters of detailed descriptions of Sankhya philosophy is given, wherein he is teaching his own mother Devahuti. He is the son of sage Kardama and Devahuti, very exalted devotees. Otherwise, Lord will not take birth as their son. And Mother Devahuti requests for instruction, and Lord Kapila instructs. So even though Sankhya philosophy, the fundamentals are exposition of the creative elements and metaphysics, something in connection to what is matter, how do we discriminate spirit and matter, things like that. But in detail, Lord Kapila Dev describes about the importance of pure devotional service. There are chapters in Bhagavatam describing that pure sweet devotional service also. It is not a dry philosophy he is giving. And then there is a imposter Kapila came later. He is not the actual Kapila Dev, and his philosophy is not proper. So Srila Prabhupada warns us, no, don't get attracted to such thing. This is the right philosophy given by the original Lord Kapila Dev. So he is another incarnation. And sixth incarnation is Dattatreya. He came as the son of Rishi Atri and Anasuya. And he is described as the combination of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. And he also spoke transcendental science to different personalities, Alarka, Prahlada, and others, Yaduhaya, etc. And seventh incarnation is called Yajna. He is the son of Prajapati, Ruchi, and Akuti. They both are very exalted again. And one of the purpose was during Swayambhava Manu's period, and there was nobody who was qualified enough to take the post of Indra, the heavenly king of heavenly planets. So during those times, Lord himself will take charge. Even sometimes there will not be anyone who is qualified enough to take the post of Lord Brahma. So instead of assigning a living entity, sometimes Lord himself will become Lord Brahma also, etc. So here Lord himself took the charge of heavenly kingdom. He became as Indra, and then assisted by his own sons like Yama and other demigods, he ruled the administration. That is Lord Yajna. And as we know, Yajna he is the Yajnapati. Krishna, Lord Vishnu is the Yajnapati, right? Enjoyer of all the yajnas. And here is very important incarnation, Lord Rishabhadev. In Bhagavatam, his teachings are described in detail. He is son of King Nabhi and Meru Devi, and he had 100 sons. And the eldest son is King Bharata. He is very famous, nice devotee. He quit his kingdom, King Bharata, at an early stage, and then went to forest to execute devotional service. And he did a small mistake, and he took the birth of a deer, and then in the deer body also he was able to remember Krishna. Here Srimad Bhagavatam from sages, and he got another birth as Jada Bharat, and in that life he will achieve perfection, liberation, went back to Godhead. So Lord Rishabhadev instructed his son, all the sons, to follow the path of perfection by tapasya. That is what his instruction, which sanctifies one's existence and help us to attain spiritual world. And Lord Rishabhadev also at the later stages of his life, he became completely aloof from the material bodily needs, a rare stage which cannot be imitated. And it is even described that he'll just lie down like a python. He will not look for food. If someone provides food, he will eat. And even his stool and urine, which is not good to smell usually for conditioned souls, but those things were smelling very nice, like incense. So he was so pure, so pure. That's the meaning. So that is Lord Rishabhadev. And ninth incarnation is Prithu Maharaj. So Prithu Maharaj is also very, very exalted personality. He is again an empowered incarnation. He came, he was manifested wherein a situation was really bad in the universe, because King Vena, who was his the king before that, King Vena was a very cruel personality, and he was destroying the whole universe. So at that time, sages simply through words killed King Vena. I mean, cursing. By cursing, they were having that much mystical power. So just by cursing, he killed King Vena because of his cruel acts. He was a king because his father went to the forest and nobody was there. So somehow he was coordinated as king, even though sages and people did not want him, but they had no other option. But then he was doing much worse activities, so he killed. And then from his body, they created Prithu Maharaj and his wife Archi. And he's an incarnation of Lord, so he was one of the best king, and the earth became beautiful and attractive because in King Vena's time, earth withhold all the opulences because Vena was so cruel, not using these properly. But when Prithu Maharaj came, there is a long story. He will chastise Mother Earth, and she will tell, "Oh, because of Vena's bad activities, I had to do this. Now I will return all the opulence back," and the earth became beautiful and attractive. There is a long description in many chapters in Bhagavatam later about Prithu Maharaj also. And 10th incarnation, famous Malsya incarnation. So in the period of Chakshushamanu, the whole world was deep in water, and Lord accepted the form of a fish and protected Vaivasvata Manu. And long story is there. There is a story of Satyavrata also, and somewhere it is mentioned Satyavrata is Vaivasvata Manu himself. In any case, Satyavrata was a devotee of the Lord, and once he was doing his morning activities and he found a small fish. He took the fish in his hand and fish spoke to him, and fish started complaining him to save, and then he will take the fish into his palace, and then fish will grow, and the fish will grow to a really huge body that he had to leave the fish back to the water, and then there is pastime. He will save the Vedas from a demon, and it's a long story. Because of time, I'm not going into the details at present, but some of you may know the story. If not, you can read. There are details given elsewhere. But this is the incarnation of Malsya. There was a purpose for him to, Lord, to appear in this Malsya incarnation. And Kurma incarnation, this is a famous story also. Demons and demigods, they want to get Amrit, nectar, for for becoming immortal. So they will churn the milk ocean using Mandarachala hill, and the hill was going down because of its weight. So Lord appeared as Kurma, and then you can see the tortoise Kurma avatar, and then this hill was resting on his back, and he saved them. And this is 12th incarnation, Dhanvantari. Now Dhanvantari appeared from this milk ocean while chaining the ocean of milk. So first Dhanvantari came with the nectar, but then demons were very greedy to get the nectar, and then he could not, avoid their, interference. So we will see what Lord will do. But here Dhanvantari has a special characteristics. He will quickly cure any diseases of the living entities. So many times this Ayurveda is connected to Dhanvantari, and there is a verse also about Dhanvantari, etc. And since Dhanvantari was not able to distribute nectar mainly to demigods, so Lord took this incarnation in the form of a female personality, Mohini Murti, most beautiful woman, because Lord is the most beautiful person, and when Lord comes in female form also, he will be or she will be most beautiful. So Mohini appeared, and she captivated through her beauty, captivated the demons, so they got distracted from the nectar, at least stopped attacking to get the nectar. So they listened to Mohini when she told, "I'll give you the nectar, please wait," etc. They were just immersed in her beauty, and then she could distract them, then gave the nectar to the demigods. So that is Mohini avatar, and then very famous Lord Narasimha avatar. So I'm not going into the details, all of us know. He came to protect devotee Prahlad and then kill Hiranyakashipu. And Lord Vamanadev, also famous incarnation, he actually gave mercy to Bali Maharaj, even though the pastime looks like Bali Maharaj was punished, but he gave him mercy, and he became the doorkeeper of the Sutala Loka, where the Sutala was in charge of Bali Maharaj after the pastime. So I'm not going into the pastimes of these because we have a few important verses to discuss in this chapter. Since these pastimes we are all aware, we will just relish the incarnations and pictures and we'll move. And Parashurama is also celebrated incarnation. In this incarnation, Lord annihilated the Kshatriyas administrative class. He came 21 times and killed most of the Kshatriyas because they were not following the dharma properly. Their rebellion against the Brahmanas and the intelligent class. So all those Kshatriyas who were not properly following the Varnashram dharma, Parashuram came and killed. And 17th incarnation is Srila Vyasadeva. So as we know, Vyasadeva composed Srimad Bhagavatam, and this particular Vyasadeva is a direct incarnation of Krishna, very special personality. So he appeared in the womb of Satyavati and Parashara Muni, and his duty was to divide the Vedas. Vyasa means divide, to divide. So divided the one Veda into several branches, majorly 4 Vedas, and then Upanishads and etc. etc. And finally, he was not satisfied by doing those activities, and Narada Muni, his spiritual master, instructed him to glorify Krishna directly through Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, next chapter, 4th chapter, and then onwards, those pastimes will come. Now, why Sri Vyasadeva was not satisfied and what was instruction and how he composed, he will undergo meditation. He will get the darshan of Krishna, full form, Purna Rupam, Apashyat Purusham Purnam. He will be able to see Krishna, and then he'll compose Bhagavatam. Those will come later. So this is Vyasadeva. Then 18th incarnation, Lord Sri Ram, very, very famous, maybe most famous incarnation all over the India. And 19th and 20th incarnations described is sweet Balaram and Krishna. They both are together in their pastimes, and Balaram is always looking for service. How to serve Krishna, how to serve Krishna. He will manifest as the paraphernalia for Krishna. He will become the dham also, and all the paraphernalia. So he's a very, very sweet personality. He is the original spiritual master. From him, all the Guru Tattva will manifest. And Lord Buddha, so Buddha is a special incarnation. He came for a specific purpose. In the beginning of Kali Yuga, he appears. Now, in Bhagavatam, the Bhagavatam was composed several years before, 5,000 plus years before, but Lord Buddha incarnated around 2,400 years before. So that means while Vyasadeva was composing Bhagavatam, Buddha was not there. But all other incarnations were already descended. They came and disappeared. So it is described that in Bhagavatam, Lord Buddha is foretold as a future action, and such is the authority of this pure or clear scripture. Now Lord Buddha will appear. This is what described in Bhagavat before Buddha was appeared. That's why the will, future tense is used. Lord will appear as Lord Buddha. It was also described that he will become the son of Anjana in the province of Gaya. That much was described in Bhagavatam upfront, in advance, and just for the purpose of deluding those who are envious of the faithful theist. Meaning, there are long descriptions. People started misusing Vedic scriptures and started killing animals. So it's described in Vedas, we can kill animals, but there are several restrictions described in Vedas. Without following the restrictions, they started killing. So to bring them back to ahimsa, Lord Buddha came and rejected Vedas and things like that. So that is Lord Buddha's avatara. And Kalki is also foretold, because Kali Yuga, lasts for 4,82,000 years, and we are only 5,000 plus some years. So still long way to go. And at the end of this 4,032,000 years, that is from now, around 4,27,000 years later, Kalki will appear. But Bhagavatam already mentioned where Kalki will appear and whose son. He is the son of, he is going to become the son of Vishnu Yasha somewhere in Nepal. This place is also given elsewhere in Bhagavatam. So that is our Lord Kalki. So it is so wonderful that Bhagavatam is the Amala Puran, most pure literature. Now, the most important verse within Srimad Bhagavatam, this comes in this chapter, chapter 3 of first canto. In this verse, 28th verse, this verse is called Paribhasha Sutra. So before chanting the verse, let's see what is the definition of Paribhasha Sutra. One definition given by Srila Jiva Goswami in Krishna Sandarbha is this. A Paribhasha Sutra explains the proper method of or method for understanding a book. So the whole book may contain several verses, thousands of verses. In Bhagavatam, we have 18,000 verses. This one particular verse explains the proper method, how to understand or conceive Bhagavatam in this example, or any other book in that matter. It gives the key by which one may understand the actual purport of a series of apparently unrelated facts and arguments. Meaning, if there are some conflicts in the basic understanding, for example, who is the supreme? Is Krishna or some other incarnation? Simple example, is Krishna or Vishnu who is supreme? If we have a doubt by reading some other verses within Srimad Bhagavatam, because there is some mentioning about Krishna along with Arjuna goes and visits Lord Vishnu. So does that mean Lord Vishnu is superior? Because Krishna is going to Vishnu to meet. So that means Vishnu must be superior, right? So such confusion comes. We should refer this Paribhasha Sutra verse. And if that is aligned with this understanding, then our understanding is correct. But if that is not aligned with this understanding, this verse is giving the ultimate truth. So we have to try to understand the other aspect in connection to this verse. So we'll see what is this verse describing. So the whole Bhagavatam is sitting on based on this verse, the ultimate truth. So this verse, Ete cham shakala pumsah Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Vridayanti Yuge Yuge. So the translation is all of the above mentioned incarnations. So we have seen several incarnations, right? Are either plenary portions or portions of the plenary portions of the Lord. But so that means they are all, we will see what is the plenary portions of plenary. But Lord Sri Krishna, we mentioned Balaram and Krishna. So Krishna is also there. He also descends to this material world. But Lord Sri Krishna, that Krishna, is the original personality of Godhead. Here, Bhagavan Swayam Bhagavan. And all of them appear on planets whenever there is a disturbance created by the atheists. Indra Ari. Ari means enemy of Indra or demigods. So when they come and disturb the earth, so they are basically atheists. They don't accept Lord. Lord will appear. Mridayanti means protect. Yuge Yuge in every yuga or whenever there is a requirement. So Lord incarnates to protect the theists. So it is described that Krishna's two. So Krishna only is the Swayam Bhagavan. Now Swayam Bhagavan means there is no other source for Krishna. No, Krishna is not incarnating or manifesting from somebody else. No, Krishna is the ultimate source. That's it. That's what Bhagavatam Paribhasha Sutra is mentioning. So anywhere we have a doubt, we should conclude that Krishna is the supreme. Based on that, we have to analyze whatever is not clear to us. So Lord Shri Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. That's why Prabhupada mentioned him as supreme personality of Godhead. He is the Godhead, ultimate. He is a person and he is supreme, according to all the evidences of the Vedas. And Canto 3 also, Prabhupada mentions this. So we can see this nice flute here. Krishna has a flute, Lord Shyama Sundar. Krishna's Shyama Sundar form with a flute, playing flute. That is the topmost form. source of everything. So we have several evidences for that. So Krishna is the supreme. So we will spend few minutes, establishing that truth. And the whole Bhagavatam is establishing that Krishna is the ultimate source of everything. So it is described that here incarnations are either plenary portions or portions of the plenary portion. So the word plenary means complete. Now, what is plenary portion? Complete portion doesn't make sense. No conflict. Complete means full, then portion means some portion. That is, even though Krishna's incarnations, for example, Lord Ram or Mahavishnu, they are also complete as Krishna, because they are not two different personalities, same person, complete, but they will not manifest all the qualities of Krishna. We will see that later in few minutes. That's why they are called plenary portions. And then portions of the plenary portions means Krishna will manifest as Balaram. So that is one manifestation. From that, another, etc. So that's why portions of the plenary portions, but they are all Vishnu Tattva, and they are complete in itself, but they will not manifest everything, because each one of these incarnations are coming to play a particular pastime or set of pastimes, or execute some certain specific function. So they will only manifest what is needed for that. For example, Parashuram and Narasimha, they are establishing this unusual strength. We can see Narasimha and even Parashuram killing all the Kshatriyas, Narasimha killing the greatest of the demon. But they will, even though they are Krishna himself, in one sense, they can also play flute. They are capable, but they will not manifest those. And Narada, of course, Narada is not Vishnu Tattva, but incarnation. And Varahamurti, Lord Buddha, they created faith in general public. And Lord Ram and Dhanvantari, specifically fame. Yeah, there are other aspects also, but and Balaram, Mohini, Vamana, they are very beautiful. Even Lord Varaha is very beautiful, by the way. Lord Narasimha is very beautiful. For devotees, they are all beautiful, but here from a mundane conception, Balaram, Mohini, and Vamana Murti, they are specifically very beautiful. But they show those opulences and some other also, but not all the opulences which Krishna exhibits. And Dattatreya, Malsya Kurma, Kapila, they deliver transcendental knowledge. Naranarayana Rishis establish renunciation, etc. However, Lord Krishna, the primeval Lord, the complete features of Godhead, nothing beyond him. He has unlimited features. That's why he is confirmed as, it is confirmed that he is the source of all other incarnations. So from this also we can analyze like this and prove that yes, Krishna is a source of all incarnations, because no other incarnation plays a flute and play with gopis, and we cannot see such pastimes, or stealing butter like that. So Krishna does all those things. So here is a chart. I did not make this, somebody else. So all glories to that devotee whoever made this. So Krishna possesses 64 qualities. Rupa Goswami describes 64 qualities of Krishna. Even though Krishna possesses unlimited qualities, probably we can derive all those unlimited qualities from these 64 maybe. But majorly 64 qualities, and Krishna possesses all of them 100%, incomplete to fullness. Lord Vishnu, he is a manifestation of Krishna. Vishnu will exhibit only 60, that means 94%, 60 of those 64 qualities. So Vishnu will not play flute and play with gopis and gopas, all those things. Those four will be avoided by him. And then Lord Shiva is not an incarnation of Krishna as such. He's another personality, but he's not a Jiva also, very unique. But he is very elevated. He possesses only 55 of those qualities. That means 84%. Now Jivas, the Jivas can go up to 50 of the qualities, up to 78%. That doesn't mean all of us can possess 78%. But the topmost Jiva, Lord Brahma, possesses 78% of Krishna's qualities, 50 qualities. and jivas can go up to 78%. So we may be possessing, I don't know, small percent, that's all, depending on our purification and position, etc. But this is what jivas can go up to. So here we can see Krishna is the supreme, not any other incarnations or anybody else. And we have a few more references, and then we will see. In Brahma Samhita, which is composed by Lord Brahma, Brahma was meditating. Krishna gave the Gayatri mantra through his flute, sound of his flute. It's a very interesting way of receiving that. In Brahma writes, Ishvara Paramah Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. He is the Paramah Krishna, topmost person. He is Sachidananda Vigraha, we know him. And Anadir Adir Govinda. Anadir means no source. Adi means source. He is the source of everything and he doesn't have any source. So he is the topmost. And he is the cause of all causes, prime cause of all causes. And then another verse in Brahma Samhita, Ramadi Murtishu Kala Niyamena Tishtan Nana Avatara Makarot Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhavat Paramah Puman. He is the Paramah Puman, topmost personality. He is Swayam Bhagavan. Nobody created him or he did not manifest it from someone else. So it is repeated in Brahma Samhita also. So very wonderful. And in Bhagavad Gita, there are several verses, but one famous verse, Krishna speaks, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo, I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Matta Sarvam Pravartate, everything emanates from me. And Itimatva Bhajante Imam Buddha Bhava Samanyuta, the wise who perfectly know this, that I am the source of everything, engage in my service and worship me with all their hearts. And one more verse in Bhagavad Gita, Mattah Parataram Nanyat Kinchidasti Dhananjaya, Mai Sarvamidam Protam Sutre Manigana Iva. He speaks, no one is superior to me. Very explicit, very directly he's speaking. No need to interpret or break our head. Any simple, kid can understand. No one is superior to me, O Arjuna. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a necklace. Like this necklace, there are several pearls. We cannot see the thread, right? We cannot see the thread. But that unseen is proven by the seen. If the seen is there, that means if you are able to see this, that means some thread must be there. Like that, if everything exists here, some source must be there. And Krishna is telling, I am that source. So that those, and there are several scriptural references claiming that Krishna is supreme. And knowing the reality about the supreme, how do we know the reality? Because Lord is fully independent, unlimited. How can we know him? Only by his mercy we can know him, this ultimate truth. And it's described in verse 38 of this chapter, which we are discussing now, third chapter. Only those who render unreserved, uninterrupted, favorable service unto the lotus feet of Krishna can know the Creator. That is him, and by his mercy only. So Prabhupada writes this, one can understand the Supreme Lord only by devotional service. This is in connection to verse 58 in Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 18. Bhakti Amam Abhijanati. Only by devotional service, Krishna can be known. No other method. A 10% devotee of the Lord is immune to the dreadful material miseries of repeated birth and death. That's what Prabhupada mentions. A very pure devotee. Now, if we can stop in a couple of minutes, this the end of this chapter, it glorifies Bhagavatam. So I'll not read all these verses, but this verse is 40th verse in my front slide. It is described in the purport. God is all light, etc. Here it is mentioned, Bhagavatam is the literary incarnation of God, and compiled by Vyasadeva. He is also an incarnation of God. Because of that, it is meant for the ultimate good of all people, and it is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Because Bhagavatam is non-different than Krishna, who is a supreme, which we just went through different verses. Krishna is a supreme, and Bhagavatam is non-different than Krishna. It is a literary incarnation, also compiled by incarnation of Krishna. So it must be the best, good for the people, all people, all people. and all successful, all blissful, all perfect. And Vyasadeva delivered this to his son, who is Shukadeva Goswami. We can see he's sitting here. He learned Bhagavatam from Vyasadeva. And after extracting the cream of all Vedic literatures and histories, because Vyasadeva composed all other Vedic literatures, will not be satisfied, then Narada Muni asked him to write or glorify Krishna through Srimad Bhagavatam. And then he got the mercy, and then he taught this to. He realized and relished, then gave the mercy to Shukadeva Goswami, and Shukadeva Goswami speaks this to Parikshit Maharaj and all the assembled devotees. Right. So that is the beauty of Srimad Bhagavatam. And then here, this is the last verse. It gives the answer to the question 6. What will happen when Krishna disappears from this material world? The devotees were asking, sages were asking. So it is described that Krishne swadhamopagate dharma jnanadibhis saha kalau nashtadrisham esha puranarko dhunoditaha. And this Bhagavad Purana is as brilliant as the sun, and it has arisen just after the departure of Lord Krishna to his own abode, accompanied by religion, knowledge, etc. Persons who have lost their vision due to the dense darkness of ignorance in the age of Kali shall get light from this Purana. So it's described here, who have lost their vision, which is all the conditioned souls, due to the dense darkness of ignorance, especially in the age of Kali. So we can get light from this Purana. So this is the best way to understand Krishna, to serve Krishna, to realize who we are, and relish our perfect our life, and simply by relishing Srimad Bhagavatam. And this is a light, so especially we can read Srimad Bhagavatam, discuss and contemplate and apply this in our life, especially in this month of Kartik, whereas we offer ghee lamp. Also we can relish this Srimad Bhagavatam is also light for our to destroy the darkness in our heart. So the last verse is this. Here when Shukadeva Goswami recited Bhagavatam there in the presence of Parikshit, I heard, which is Suta Goswami speaking, I heard him with rapt attention, very rapt, very important, rapt attention. And thus by his mercy, that is also very important, by the mercy of Acharya or spiritual master, I learned the Bhagavatam from that great and powerful sage. Now I shall try to make you hear the very same thing as I learned it from him and as I have realized it. So here Krishna is there with all 12 cantos of Bhagavatam. It is described that one should hear with rapt attention from the real person who is authorized Acharya like Prabhupada and his followers. And then he can at once realize the presence of Lord Krishna in every page of Bhagavatam. You don't need separate deity of Krishna, even if you don't have a deity or picture by chance. Just by reading Bhagavatam, we can see Krishna. That's what it is described. So I think I'll stop here. I'll quickly mention one pastime, one minute. When Srila Prabhupada established ISKCON, and in the beginning days, devotees used to go for book distribution. So they'll have a van full of books, Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, etc. And then they have to travel through different cities. So there were not many temples in every city like now. So they used to attend Mangalarati at temple. They used to worship Lord Krishna's more Archa Vigraha, etc. But when they are traveling, they ask Prabhupada, so Prabhupada, shall we carry a deity of Krishna in the van so that daily morning we can worship him and go like that? Then Prabhupada told, no, not required. You have Srimad Bhagavatam, that is non-different than Krishna. So just worship Srimad Bhagavatam, that's enough. Okay, so that is the glory of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So I'll stop here and see if we have any questions or comments or reflections, if you would like to share.
Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Actually, this is a vast and deep subject. It is difficult to understand and memorize also.
Which one? Your voice was not very clear. Sometimes it is going back and forth. Yes.
Prabhuji?
Yeah. Now I can hear.
Alexa. Actually, today's subject was really deep and vast, and we cannot memorize and understand easily. It's very vast subject,
Yes, very true.
and lots of doubts are there. One or
Yeah.
two I am asking.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, what is the difference between incarnation, manifestation, and the expansion?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, simple explanation which I heard is incarnation is usually descending down to this material world, the form, and manifestation is need not be descending down, or it can descend down also, or manifestation. One example is Krishna manifest himself into several Krishnas during the Rasa Leela, which need not be happening in the earth, but it happens eternally in Goloka Vrindavan also. So he can manifest into different Krishnas or different forms, etc. So that is manifestation. When incarnation usually is described to mention Krishna comes directly or in different forms into this material world, sort of descending down, So that is a difference. It's a subtle difference, For us, we don't differentiate, oh, this is incarnation, so I'll give less respect because coming down. No, it is not like that. Same Krishna, but that's just a way to differentiate. Okay.
Okay. Then Mahavishnu, Krishna, Narayana.
Yeah.
Vishnu and Mahavishnu is different.
Now Vishnu himself has different again manifestations. So it depends on some people call Vishnu for Mahavishnu, and some people call Vishnu for Paramatma, because Karanodakashayi Vishnu, Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, etc. Right? So usually Karanodakashayi Vishnu is described as Mahavishnu, and other Vishnus are. So it all depends on how one name, but it's okay, to call Vishnu in that sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, please.
Yeah, and then I know the creation is very deep, even for many devotees, including me. Understanding that is very difficult. And Bhagavatam gives detailed description later, and the whole Vedic cosmology is given in Canto 5, which is like really deep. So it depends on one's capacity, we can understand or not. But if you are able to understand Krishna is the supreme, that is good enough. And then act based on that. Execute our devotional services, whatever, and then try to understand in our capacity. That is enough. The main point is Krishna is the supreme. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. Anything else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Pranam, Prabhuji.
Pranam.
Prabhuji, one request to you that please share this link, because the depth of this today's class is too much, and we can recall it if we'll see it once and one more time only. That is.
Yes, Mataji. I will.
And the thing that Prabhuji means, I cannot remember all these things at a time now. But the gist of your class is that we have to remember Krishna always, and we have to please him by doing the loving service, and you always have to keep the sadhu sangha.
Exactly, you got the essence, so you are safe. Yeah, even remembering all these different sequence, even for me also, it might have taken several years. We'll keep forgetting again, hear another lecture or refer, and again the purpose is not to remember these. Okay, it's good to remember if possible, or whenever we can. It may take several years, as I mentioned to Sajiv Prabhu. Yes, purpose is to establish or understand that Krishna is the source of everything, and we are supposed to serve Krishna so that we can be eternally happy. So these technical things, yes, it can be difficult, but we shouldn't try to acquire that knowledge, remembrance without, serving Krishna. That is dangerous also. So our focus should go to serving Krishna in whatever capacity which we are doing, and then slowly understand and try to remember these different. It'll come naturally, so you don't need to worry.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Anything else? We have like 5 more minutes. Or any reflections? Okay, so if nothing either, we will stop here again. I know this was a deep subject which I have not gone into any depth. Even I'm not completely qualified also to do that. But chapter 3 gives a glimpse of these things, not in detail anyway. It just touches upon these aspects, and later chapters it will come, and I hope that all of you will get an opportunity to understand these by the mercy of Krishna. That is the only way to understand him or anything related to him, and everything is in relation to him only. So we can pray to Krishna and give us strength and intelligence to understand whatever we are required to understand, so that we can approach him and achieve Krishna Prema. Okay, with that note, I will stop here. Thank you all. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.